So I go see my son's game, and I'm in this frame of mind. And on Friday, my son, as Pat will know, because Pat is the school marm, but my son...
That's nicely put.
Yeah, my son...
Never thought of myself that way before.
My son, I come home, and I find out from the teacher that my son was spitting on somebody. Mm. Okay, you don't need to say it like that, but you don't need to look up.
No, I know the story.
So
parents. It's the parents.
I sit down with him. I know it is.
That's what we told him.
I know, and I sit down with him, and I'm just beside myself. And so I make him memorize only about half the Bible.
Were there any no spitting clauses in there?
Oh, you'd be surprised at how many spitting things are in the scriptures. But and he was quite surprised as well. But anyway,
there were several boys, by the way. It wasn't just him. I don't know who the spitting ringleader was, but
well, he didn't share any of that, and he fessed up to it right away. Okay. So I applauded him for his honesty and his.
And he sold no one else down the river.
No, but I didn't ask him who else was. He takes personal responsibility.
That's
I don't
great.
care if everybody was forcing him.
No, that's great.
So anyway, so I go to his soccer game, and we go early because we had rain here in Texas, and because it rains so seldom that when it does rain, it just everything is very, very, very wet, and so. They didn't have time to practice, et cetera, et cetera. They go to the soccer field, and they said, because we didn't have time to practice, everybody should get there early. And so I'm sitting on this bench with these other parents who they were the team, the Blue Bonnets. Now, I don't know if you know about the mighty fighting Blue Bonnets, but they're 6-year-olds.
They sound scary.
Yeah, they are.
The Blue Bonnets. Yeah.
Terrifying soccer club. Mm-hmm. But the fighting Blue Bonnets were out. And I'm sitting there with my life, really kind of clear in my head. And I hear these two parents, two separate dads. And one of them is like, get in there! Get in there! And I'm like, dude. She's 6, and the team is called the Blue Bonnets. And the other dad was like, all right, good job, Tiffany Carol Ann, good job, you keep it up, yeah, get in there, go, yeah. And I'm like, what the hell are we doing?
Encouraging her children?
Yeah, listen to me. Shush.
Is there more to this?
Turn their microphones off for
Is
a
there
second.
more to it?
Excuse me.
I didn't say anything.
Thank you, Pat. Turn his microphone off.
You don't cheer on your kid?
Can you?
Well, yes, I do.
Could I have may I have the floor?
No, yes, please.
You may. On your own show. On your own network. Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, how much more do I have to own before you guys shut up?
The country.
Quite a bit.
All right, so here's the thing. I don't have if I had the country and I exported you to Canada, you would have a freaking bullhorn, and you'd be across the border, and you'd still be on. I couldn't get it soundproof enough. Anyway, so he's like cheering her on, and I get that, and it's great to be positive and supportive. And I was supporting Rafe, and I was there, but we were there with the whole family. We all got in the car, and we all drove out to the field, and we all brought out a blanket, which was sopping wet because it was. Anyway, we're there for 2 hours on a Saturday, and I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, what are we doing as a society? We are sitting there watching 6-year-olds in organized sports. You know what? Go outside and play. Go outside and play. Why do you need to spend all the money? Why do we have to drag everybody out to see you guys play? My dad would come to our organized games when we were in school and we were playing. But he did not come out to our little baseball games that we were playing down the street, or the kickball, or let's go play frisbee, or whatever. He didn't go there. We didn't drag grandma and grandpa out so they could watch the game, which was organized that everybody had a uniform for, and we could all cheer and say, go Blue Bonnets. For the love of Pete, what are we doing? Let our kids go play. Let them go outside and play. How many of them are going, what are they really learning? Well, they're learning how to play with each other. You know what? They can learn how to play with each other for free down the street.
Strongly disagree with that.
I don't really care. I'm not done.
Okay. This is a monologue.
I'm not done.
And he's not asking.
No, the definition has already been violated.
Well, but you specifically asked us not to comment and bring sanity to this. So it's your job to do this on your side. You do your thing, and then you specifically asked us, and we should oblige to that.
Thank you. So here is point A, and I go all the way to Z. Here's point A. There's nothing wrong with organized sports. There's nothing wrong with our kids going out and play. There's nothing wrong with cheerleading our kids. But out of all of the things that are happening in the world, we are spending so much damn time and money. I drove into this Texas field. I've never seen a sports center for a town so elaborate as this. They have high school football stadiums in this state, and I know this isn't going to make me popular in the state of Texas because they love their high school football. But for the love of God, and I'm using his name here, for all that is good and holy, for the love of God, why are we spending $80 million on a high school football stadium? It's, need I say it, high school. Are you high? It's high school. $80 million on a high school football team. What the hell is wrong with you? I'm turning into my grandfather, and I know it. But I wear that as a badge of honor. It's time for people, we treat our children like they're rock stars out on the soccer field, like it's what's his face, Beckham or whatever the hell. They're all these stars that they've got to do it right because they might have a chance at what? At what? Really? This is going to be the thing? This is it. By putting them and spending all the money and all the time, that's going to be the thing. You can't teach them that by having them go outside and teaching them fair play and not standing around and cheering them. We're standing around cheering our kids and making them into rock stars. And then we're just saying, oh, well, they understand the whole world and everything else, and they can watch rated R movies, and they can watch violence, and they can play these games, and they can do this and do that because, I had this as a kid. Well, you didn't have the soccer where everybody was going to play soccer and baseball, and everybody went, and the whole town went, and everything shut down on a Saturday and a Friday and a Tuesday when you have to drag them to and Sundays. No, so we had some sanity at some point. We had some sanity. And at the same time we're doing this to our kids, we treat them like imbeciles. Somehow or another, George Washington found it in himself to go survey land. By the time he was, 13? By 15, he was out in a uniform surveying Fort Pitt. Otherwise known as, this is a good place for a city, Pittsburgh. At 15 years old. Johnny Appleseed, by the time he was 20, he had some other issues. He wasn't wearing pants and other things like that, but he was out because he was led to go to Ohio and start to plant apples because he knew that people are going to start moving out that way and they're going to be hungry. And so he went out, and you know what his job was? They called him Good News Johnny, and he would tell the good news. And he didn't bring a gun with him, and he went by himself. He was a pacifist. I'm not going to kill any animals. Whatever. He survived. Our kids are finding themselves until they're 25, and of course they're still kids when they're 25. What do you say we don't treat our 12-year-olds like they're 6? What do you say we don't treat our 6-year-olds like they're soccer stars? We treat our 12-year-olds like 12-year-olds should be treated. It is in this progressive era for the last 100 years that all of a sudden children are all morons. Children are all incapable. Children could never work. I don't want my kids working in a sweatshop. I don't want my kids having to work day in and day out in a sweatshop. I don't want that. That's bad. But my kid can't work? All of a sudden, my kid can't have an after-school job? My kid can't work on the farm? What the hell is wrong with us? We got to build them an $80 million stadium, but God forbid they get a job. Got to make sure I haul their ass everywhere around town just so they what? Win a worthless trophy that everybody gets? But God forbid I treat my child like an adult. And I don't mean at the movie theater and at the game store. I mean, I expect certain things of them. Look, I am preaching more to myself than you, because my kids are far from perfect, as evidenced by my son sitting in a tree and spitting on people. So we are far from perfect, and I am ranting more to myself, but I have just about had it with this society. I've just about had it. I gave a talk in church last night, and it was a little bit like this. Our children aren't expected anymore to actually know that 2 + 2 = 4. It could be 5. Our children couldn't tell you the first damn thing about the Constitution. Let me show you. Let me show you the tests from the 1800s. Most college students couldn't pass those tests that were given to the 8th graders. Well, that's too hard. Might make them cry. Good, let them cry their eyes out. You know what? They'll be survivors. Oh, you sound like a bully. We were all bullied. Why do you think we don't want people to be bullied? Because every damn one of us were bullied as kids. Get over it. Grow a set. And use some common sense. These two, I might let them talk in a second.